Okay, hi everyone. I'm Nadia, and I am a language trainer and workplace workshop designer, you could say, I guess. I basically work with people who want to improve a specific skill, and I chose language as like, the main thing to work on. So I started making these YouTube videos because I learned a lot from YouTubers. Um, and because I was kind of off work for a bit, and I thought I'd take you behind the scenes of some of the things that I do. So today, I want to talk about thinking of writing this article here um, about um, something that I've noticed people are doing more of in workplaces, um, and it's this concept here of meditation. Um, so I'm the kind of person who likes to just focus on like tasks, like when I'm at work. Um, but lately, I've noticed people are talking a bit more about this concept. So I guess I'll share my thoughts about it because as humans, we do have a we do have a spirit. Whether you choose to you know deal with your spirit and beliefs and stuff, that's a personal choice. But I'll share a little bit about, like, I guess, my beliefs, I guess, and yeah, just I put these two images here because we're usually hard at work inside. Sometimes we like just step outside and kind of like just look around and see like look at creation, and then start thinking about whether there is a creator or not. Um, and I'm just going to share my like random thoughts about this topic before I get writing it, basically. um, One of the big concepts that people talk about a lot is religion, and for some reason it comes with connotation, um, and um, a lot of people. I hope I'm spelling this right. Persil, persil. Okay, I'm gonna need help from my friend here. Ah, okay, okay. There we go. That's the proper spelling, but basically people who call to their religions. But the kind of meditation that I'm seeing at work is just kind of like a general one that's not um, associated with a specific beliefs. But you do see traces of like Eastern thoughts and stuff, uh, Buddhism and things like that. And I remember reading about Buddha a long time ago, and that he didn't actually had have the intention of creating a religion. It was just kind of like it was kind of like he just kind of had a connection with nature, or he was trying to build a connection with nature. Um, so all these thoughts, there a lot of people share these thoughts, like nature and kind of like a creator for nature. But still, we don't usually have a problem with general meditation or general relaxation. Um, Sometimes it's like not just referred to as meditation, but things like this. These are the these are the concepts I'm hearing when people talk about meditation. It's like either you're sitting by yourself somewhere reflecting or trying to relax, physically, mentally, or spiritually. And sometimes it's paid services. So, you know, you go to a spa and you do all sorts of things to like relax and stuff. And it's not these things that people have big issues with. Like when you think stats, right? I like stats. Um, if you ask a lot of people about these things, not a lot of people are going to have an issue with the spa. It would just, I think, it would just be specific issues like I don't like to be touched by someone else, or I don't like chemicals, or I'm allergic to some things. But the concept itself is kind of like it's a you know very famous kind of business thing. Um, so we don't usually have problems with you know relaxation. We don't have a general problem with relaxing. No one's gonna say like, oh, relaxing is a bad thing. I think the only issue there in general, from what I've seen, is that a lot of people like work too much, or even become kind of workaholic, and they don't want to like face difficult questions or confusing questions and things like that. Whereas there are people who are kind of bored into a way of life or belief, and they basically like um, it's easier for them to like be in connect with themselves, and then when they go into like the working world where people are not like connected to their souls and things like that, they find that difficult. So it's kind of like it has a lot to do with like how we grow up, I guess. Again, this is just me brainstorming um, before I get writing. And what I'm trying to do is like write articles um, and topics that I think about, and then eventually transfer it into like language activities where people are, you know, looking into the vocabulary and the grammar and practicing and stuff like that. um, so yeah, so this is kind of okay. This is kind of okay. This becomes an issue because you don't like people imposing things. In general, humans don't like being imposed to think or do anything because we've built habits. So it's like, how can someone just come and try to change everything about your way of life? So this can get annoying sometimes. I'm not sure the spelling is. Anyway. And then here is where I think there's a lot of um, tension. um, a lot of religions, I think people look at them um, and judge them based on what people are doing, like what people do in that religion. Um, and then because people are different and nobody's perfect, I really don't think there's any human that's perfect. Um, if that's where you're getting the knowledge from, like that's where you're getting your information from, like with that religion, we know from like being students in schools and education systems and stuff that people's actions are not the only channel of information. It's one of them. Um, but you try to always go to the sources of information, even with like research, even with working, like how things work. You can watch how someone else does it, but sometimes you just have to like know how something, like how the thing itself works. So if you work in a place like this, I don't want to skew off too far from the topic, but if you work in a place um, where there's this kind of, you know, this kind of production, you'll eventually want to know when things happen and when things grow and things like that. So I think the same thing with religion. Like, if you want to learn the truth about any religion, you want to just try to go to the base, and like the base of sources, basically. And yeah, I think if you take it from there, then you will be able to like get the information without a lot of distraction from the person who's trying to soak you in. Um, Without naming any religions at this time, I read about different, belief systems and stuff, and I found that some of them, even when you're like trying to find the source, it was difficult to find the source. And then you find the source, and then it's kind of confusing. So I don't know. And then when you kind of observe, just observe, not judge, how the followers of that way of life or that religion go about their life, I feel like in the end there's some kind of gain for them to like soak you in. So I don't know if this makes sense, but it's just, again, my brainstorming. And then here, I feel like maybe we're what are we at in population? 7 billion. If there's 7 billion humans, I think there's 7 billion ideas of, like, whether they're the creator or the concept of the creator, you know. But what these religions do that make it easier is that instead of you being, the only person thinking about things, is people are grouped into how they, think about creation and the creator. So you could always meet someone else who believes in a creator the same way you do. And another thing that we cannot argue with usually is that it's good to be social. Like, being social seems to be a human part of like human nature. So um, it's always nice to like talk to someone else about what you think about the creator. And I'm gonna just stop here, basically. That's all I wanted to talk about. So if you have any thoughts about these topics without trying to like impose anything, feel free to join the conversation. Um, and something that I like to do a lot in workshops is just get people to like reflect about stuff. And sometimes you just need to reflect about points. Take a minute, jot some things down about what you think here, what you think here, what you think, and what you think. And then if you feel like being social, you can share it with me or share it with someone else. And yeah, we'll leave it at that. But I think my conclusion is that like we can talk and talk and talk about things and things in the world and all that, but I feel like this is where we need to be in the end. This is real. I don't know. Like, I feel like when we are producing something, then our lives are actually very meaningful, because if you have like the best belief or the best character or whatever, but you're not actually producing anything, then I don't know, not very effective. Okay, thanks a lot for watching, and goodbye for now.